So we can start maybe with your introduction. So could you please introduce yourself in the way you prefer?
Okay, so I'm Kate Bacon. I'm an indirect tax partner based in Dubai, but I also look after tax overall for Deloitte Private.
Great, thank you. When you travel, what do you always pack with you?
So I think it has to be a phone charger really, and I don't, probably most people say that. But I think as long as I've got a phone charger, a pair of AirPods, I can listen to something, watch Netflix on a plane, for example, then I'll be good. I can manage. Yeah.
Suffer any delays in an airport as long as you've got those two things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this takes us to the next question about Netflix or YouTube. What can we find in your history?
So in my YouTube history, because I have two daughters, they're 10 and 8, my YouTube history is entirely not my own. So it is probably full of teen YouTubers and skincare routines. And maybe the odd video on travel or hotels, that sort of thing. I'm always looking out for the next trip to go on.
Great. Super.
Sorry, your social media has been overtaken by the kids, which is same for so many of us. On that note, you've got two daughters, 10 and 8. We know what you do. I think our website hints a little bit more about what you do. How would your daughters describe what you do for a living?
Oh, they just say, Mum works at Deloitte. And I've asked them before, but what is Deloitte? What do I do? And I think they might be able to manage the word tax. They've got absolutely no idea, I think, what I do on a day-to-day basis. I just go to an office. But they are able to recognise the Deloitte logo. I've brainwashed them that much.
The green dot, very good.
And when you get time outside of work, what's your ideal weekend look like with the family here?
So my ideal weekend, I think if you ask the team, I've got a bit of a reputation for liking a staycation. So probably my ideal weekend would be in a hotel somewhere in the UAE, being able to feel like I'm making the most of the weekend, but without having to travel too far. So I really like the opportunity to have downtime, feel like I've got out of the sort of home environment, but also it's just around the corner. We've got so many amazing places on our doorstep here that I think that's my favourite way to spend the weekend.
Perfect. I won't ask how many times you actually get to do that. Maybe that answers it.
Yeah.
It's always not as often as you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think if I'm not doing that, the other thing that I will spend my weekend doing quite often is my oldest daughter plays a lot of football. So usually at the side of a football pitch, understanding very little about what she's actually doing, but cheering quite hard.
So you know as much about football as she does about tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So then you're in balance, aren't you? Brilliant. Moving to business chemistry, Kate. So for us, the art of science and relationships. I guess we'd be interested to hear your own business chemistry types and maybe a little bit about how you've integrated that into working life here.
Yeah, so I really enjoy that business chemistry sort of process. I think it's really interesting that you can ask a range of questions to lots of different people and they come out with different answers. And actually when you read the feedback about yourself, it feels very accurate. So I really find that interesting. I'm an integrator, which boils down for me to being a bit of a people person. So I am happiest when I am speaking to people, making connections with people, and I really highly rate collaboration. So I think I bring that into how I work at Deloitte. I really enjoy working in teams, teams across a range of our different service lines, and feeling like we are putting together one package for a client, which serves their commercial aims, rather than putting it into Deloitte buckets, the way that we normally organise ourselves.
Yeah. Is your balance quite heavily weighted towards the integrator degree?
Yes, I'm mostly integrator, secondary pioneer. But I would say I'm probably a pioneer because I like people with ideas. I'm not necessarily the person always coming up with the most imaginative approach, but I really appreciate people who have a different idea, you know, see things from a different angle, and then helping to sort of discuss how we can put that in practice, probably again drawing on my integrator. How can we work as a team to get that really great idea to work well?
What brought you to the Middle East? How long have you been here? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been in the Middle East for coming up for 10 years now. So in August it will be my 10-year anniversary. And when I came to the Middle East, it was entirely nothing to do with tax. So I was actually on maternity leave at the time, and my husband was given an opportunity to come over here. And there was no tax in the UAE at all. So for me, I saw that as quite a risk, but I took the opportunity to speak to my boss at the time, and I was given the chance to go on sabbatical, to extend my maternity leave with a sabbatical. So I did that. I moved over to the UAE, and about 18 months in, they announced that they were going to implement VAT in the UAE. And back home, I was a VAT specialist. So it very much felt like...
Stars align.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like everything happens for a reason. Yeah. I was here for a reason completely unrelated to tax, but...
Available as well?
Yeah, and then an opportunity came. So again, I thought I would be here for 2 years. Typically what people think.
We all did.
Yeah.
Like everyone, yeah.
And 10 years later, we're still here and still loving it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your route to partner, Kate?
Yeah, so my route to partner, I think I would summarize it by saying it's been a combination of making the most of challenges that have been available and also opportunities. So I think a big part of my route to partner was the fact that I was able to be here in the Middle East when, you know, the tax that I specialise in was implemented. That gave me the ability to be here at the beginning of something. And I think that isn't always an opportunity that comes across your doorstep. So having the chance to be here at the beginning and to see the team and our clients through that journey now has been really exciting. And that is what's really helped my path to partner, I think.
Looking back, Kate, is there something that stands out? You've obviously taken a few risks in your time in here. Is there something that stands out as the biggest risk that you've taken?
I think it would be the move to the Middle East. So I took a chance to come here when there was no real clear career opportunity at the time. The reason I came was that I wanted a chance to experience a different country and a different culture. And I felt like that was the right time in my life and personal life to take that opportunity. But it was a big risk for me in terms of my career. I was moving to a country where I was taking a career break for a little while, and also where there was no obvious place for me to pick that career back up if I chose to stay here for the long term. At the time, I had no idea that they were going to start implementing tax in the region. So that, when I look back at everything I've done, that does feel like the biggest risk that I took, but it also turned into the biggest opportunity. And I think that's always the case, really, when you think back on these times where you had the opportunity to take a risk.
Yeah.
And now it seems you're in the perfect place at the right time.
Absolutely, I'm very happy.
And thinking about achievements and obviously making partner a considerable achievement for here, but what are you proudest of most at the moment when you have a glance backwards?
I think I'm proudest of the team that we've established here. I'm really proud of the culture that we've got in the team in particular. So if I think back across the people we've had in that team over time, some of them are still with us, some of them have moved on to new opportunities. The way that I sum it up is that I've made a lot of really good friends or connections, and the team spirit that we have, I think it very much reflects the sort of values of the firm in terms of looking after each other and being a good place for people to thrive and develop.
Yeah. How important is that to you then? You described as an integrator that you really value collaboration. It sounds like that's kind of front and center for the kind of the team ethos that you create.
Definitely. So I think for me, feeling like we have got a strong team work ethic, strong partnership and connections within the people in our team is really important to me. That's when I think, you know, if you ask me what does success look like within a team, those are the sorts of things that I really sort of measure success on.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you what success looks like. I'm going to ask you what job enrichment looks like for you personally.
I think success and job enrichment is linked very closely together. So what I really enjoy is hearing feedback from clients and from the team on how we have supported them in something which is meaningful for them as well. So there's also been examples in my career where clients have also progressed within their own roles throughout their organisation and have perhaps reached out to ask questions or to ask for support on a particular task that was important to them in that scenario. And when you can have an impact on people from a personal perspective, not only within the corporate that they work for, then I think that is really enriching and just really valuable.
Yeah, actually it must be nice when you go through the ranks alongside clients as kind of you both gaining seniority and maintaining that relationship. That must be quite a rewarding and enriching place to be, I guess.
Absolutely.
Legacy is a key theme across the region. What is a kind of legacy that you would like to leave behind you?
I think it comes back to people again. So you've probably seen that as a theme in all of my answers. I would say the culture that we develop in the team and hoping that that culture is the legacy that I am able to leave behind is really what I'm looking for. So a strong culture where people support each other, enjoy working together. So we work hard, but we enjoy what we do on a day-to-day basis. That's really the legacy that I want to leave behind.
How would your team describe you then? Or how do you want them to describe you in that legacy?
That's an interesting question. I think they would describe me as somebody who works hard, but who tries to enjoy it every day. So tries to bring enjoyment into what we do on a day-to-day basis. Because you spend the majority of your time, working time, at work. So it's important to me that it's an enjoyable place to be.
Absolutely. We only get one shot at this, right? So yeah. Totally agree.
If someone wants to find a little bit more about you, where can they have a look? LinkedIn? Do you have a blog? Do you have a website? Anything that they can check?
I think LinkedIn is the best place, and they'll be able to find updates around the various different places that I've been or I'm speaking at. We do a lot of events as well across the tax function at the moment, promoting or talking about a lot of the changes which are going on. So LinkedIn is definitely the best place to hear more about that.
Okay, final question, just in terms of resources or something that you find valuable, whether that's been a podcast or a documentary or something. And I guess if we visualise that, you've got your phone charger, you're in the airport, you've got your AirPods, which you won't travel without. Is there something that you're watching or consuming that you would recommend to others that's had a big impact on you?
I usually, if I'm browsing, if I'm sitting in an airport and I'm looking for something to watch to fill my time, I might be scrolling on LinkedIn, for example. The type of thing which is going to make me stop and watch it is content from people like Simon Sinek and similar people talking about leadership values, what makes strong teams, the power of why, those sorts of things. They really catch my attention and I think they are memorable. You can always take something away from that type of content. So those are the sorts of things that I would typically be watching in my spare time.
Fantastic. Well, Kate, really enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks for giving us insight into your life, both in Deloitte and outside of it, and hope to see more of you in the future.
Thank you, Kate.